Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, friends. Hello, some of my family that are watching now. And hello, my supporters that I appreciate you guys so much. For you guys who like the videos, who have notifications on, and get the video views right away. Alright, so this is gonna be the last episode of Real Talk. I'm not too sure what I'm going to do after. I might do a question and answer, but this is kind of like the last of the vlogs for now. Sorry, I'm a little bit tired because I've been doing a lot of these camping trips and getting a lot of film, and it takes a little while to edit, and takes a little bit of work. But this is going to be the last episode of Real Talk, and this is kind of a hard one for me because this is when my life kind of went bad in a way, but it worked out to being so much better in the end. But anyways, let's get right into it. Okay, well, I completed high school. All right, so I got my grade 12, my first year out of high school. Still had a few high school friends, about 3. One of them I still hang out with to this day. The other 2 moved far away to the other side of the country. But, I mean, that's what happens after you do high school. But the thing is, though, I stuck with that crowd that I was mentioning in last video. I stuck with that very bad crowd, like the one that got me into smoking marijuana and big into drinking and stuff. I got my first job. It was at a co-op gas station. And I worked there for 2 years. And I only drank on weekends, right? So I would have 6 beer on Friday night and 6 beer on Saturday night. Nothing Sunday. Be all good to go for the work week, Monday to Friday. Which I was only getting maybe 5 or 6 hours. So it wasn't complete full time. But I wasn't spending money on anything. I just had a cheap car, a 2001 Cavalier, and it was cheap on gas, $60 to fill it up, liters. And I just drove that around just to work and to and from work, from my home, my parents' house to home, and that's all I really did. I saved up $6,000 into my savings account. And my dad's like, well, maybe you should go and pick up a newer vehicle, something that's, new, not a 2001. So, yeah, okay. So, me and him go to the dealership, and we find this 2009 GMC Sierra, two-wheel drive, and it was like 14,000, I think. So okay, yeah, we do all the paperwork, bank, everything, get it all set up. Now I own this truck, and I do payments every month, or every 2 weeks. I think it was $170 every 2 weeks. Like, okay, yeah, I got this nice truck, and I'm working at this co-op, and I'm trying to make friends. I hear about all my buddies and stuff like that. They're putting in different engine swaps, and they're putting on different exhaust systems and stuff. And I thought, well, I can do that too. I got over $6,000 in the bank account, so I take this truck and I buy $1,600 worth of chrome rims on complete studded tires, and turn that truck into a pavement princess. Because this all it really was. It did not do very well off-road, which I'll get into a story in my future camp out about what happened during the time of the snowstorm with that thing. But anyways, this was 2 years into working at the co-op, and I got my first girlfriend. So I would have been 20? Not quite 21. And I got my first girlfriend. I thought, woohoo! I got a girlfriend. I'm going to her house, and we're doing things, and we're having a good time, right? That's when things started getting bad. in my lifetime is between 20 and 23 years old. I got really bad into substance abuse. Now, what I mean by substance abuse, now, viewer discretion advised, mature audiences only. This is not something you want to mess with. Alright, so every day after work, I worked at the co-op 4 to 11. I started at 4 in the afternoon, finished work at 11 p.m. And every day, the people I worked with are like, well, let's go for a drive, let's go cruise around. Yeah, sure. And I would always have a 24 case of beer sitting in the back seat. So we're driving around, we're cruising around and drinking beer, drinking and driving, which I'm very ashamed of. I do not drink and drive, please. I'm not condoning that at all. It will ruin your life. Whether you get caught now or later, you'll eventually get caught or something worse happening. But anyways, now we're drinking and driving, going down grid roads, finding things and exploring some fields and abandoned barns and walking through, and buddies were like, oh yeah, let's smoke some weed too. So we're smoking weed, we're drinking, and I hit a slough. I hit a slough on my way home, and that slough sucked my truck right down that I couldn't back out. So we're like, oh, end of this, and got another buddy to come pick us up, took us back home. We all got home. Next day, I have to call the tow truck, get my truck pulled out, and on its way it goes. Alright, so you're thinking already, well, what? What are you doing? But that's not the worst of it yet. This is why it's going to be the finale, because it might be a little bit of a longer video, but no, it got a lot worse. So 6 months later, I'm going into my second year of working out of high school. So I'm 20 years old. I still have the same girlfriend. I'm living with her at the time. We got an apartment together. And co-op was, like, my job that I had wasn't paying quite enough. It was only giving me like $800 every 2 weeks. And I was spending money on substance abuse. I was an everyday alcoholic. I drank 14 to 16 beer every single day. 5% alcohol Canadian beer. And I don't want to bring this up on YouTube, but I was substance abuse, drugs, anything you could have, anything on the top of your head that you can possibly think of, I was doing. Whether it be, I'm just gonna go with some nicknames for it. Snow, Snow. Crystal, which was as well. E, which you take in a little parachute and take with water. Pharmaceuticals, from painkillers to hydromorphines to oxycodons. Lean, if you ever hear of that, is into that type of stuff. Snortable H that usually inject. Yeah, I was into all that crap. I was a complete mess. And it's because I didn't really care. Like, I started off with these substance abuse, and I was drinking every day and smoking weed every day and getting into these drugs and stuff that I eventually just started skipping work. The days I did work, I would show up and the boss would kick me out because he's like, the whole damn place smells like booze. You gotta get out of here, go home, sleep, come back tomorrow better. I'm like, okay, yeah, sounds good. And I didn't learn from that. I just continued on doing what I was doing. Staying up till 6 in the morning on drugs and drinking the whole time too, and show up to work 2 hours later without any sleep or anything. And eventually they let go of me. Eventually I got fired. I was at the co-op. But then About 3 weeks later, I got a call from the rail services, Can-Do Rail Services and Canadian National Railway. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, let's do this. Okay, well, both these places require drug tests. So that's kind of where I stopped with the bad drugs. But I was still an everyday alcoholic. And it was constantly just drinking and drinking and drinking. And now I'm about 23 years old, and I go to the Can-Do. I learn a little bit about it, but I'm so preoccupied, so it kind of wonky, and they're like, well, how did you get the vacuum that cleans up the potash stuck in a railway system, like within the train tracks? And I'm like, I don't know, I wasn't paying attention, guys were blabbing, and they got mad, and one guy had to fix the tire, and the thing almost fell on him, and he got fired on the spot. And I'm just like, oh my god, this is not good. I'm getting out of here, I'm going to CN. So I go to CN, and I go through the Winnipeg schooling system and whatnot, and to be a track maintainer. And I pass school and everything. I go work out there, and I didn't have the manual strength to pound spikes through the train. I can't remember what it's called, but ties, the railway ties. I couldn't pound a spike through the railway ties. So they're like, okay, well, you just go carry the fire snake or whatever that basically, when it's wintertime, it extends the track. So it's easier to pound the spikes in near there so the track stays where it needs to go. And okay, well, did that for a little while, and then I had to go back to Winnipeg to do schooling, and I failed the rules test. I got an 86%. You need a 90% to keep the job. I got an 86%. So they let me go. And then I went on unemployment insurance, and I was living with the girlfriend at the time, which was rent was like $1,100 a month, and she's working full-time minimum wage, making $900 or something every 2 weeks, and I'm on EI, employment insurance, getting like $600 every 2 weeks. So bills weren't cutting, they were falling behind on things. That were eating beans and just whatever cheap food you can find, craft dinner or whatever you can find in the store that's for $1, and that's our meal. And as we're doing that, she got very distant. She left the dishes. When I first moved in, she was always doing dishes and keeping everything good, and everything was all happy, healthy, and good. And she stopped doing that. She was on her phone all the time, and so I was at a bad drinking problem. I drank probably like 14, 15 beer a day, major alcoholic. I'd go out in my car and drink a whole 26 of rum and come home and just pass out in the freaking living room. And she eventually got sick of it. She eventually moved on with someone else. I was also screwing around too and hitting on other girls from other places, and yeah, it all fell apart. Okay, we broke up. That was it. I was still big into drugs. I was doing E every day, almost. I was doing snow every day, almost. And also the snortable H, which usually you inject. Luckily, I never got into injecting anything. I never used needles. Everything was through the nose or parachute, which if anybody's been in drugs, you kind of know what I mean. But anyways, that all shut down. I was forced to move back home. I was $11,000 in debt. I completely lost all my ambition for life. And so I was on EI and just basically sat on my ass the whole time. And once that ran out, I'm like, oh crap, I need a job. But I got it in between that time. I was hanging out with a buddy, staying at his house, drinking beers and rye and whiskey and hard liquor right out of the bottle. And, well, go to bed at 5 in the morning. At noon, I want to go home. So I wake up at noon still, just like, oh boy. Well, I just got to get home. I'm out of gas. It's minus 40 degrees outside this place, and he has a fireplace going, and it was ice cold. I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta get out of here. So I drive home, and I drove one of his buddies home, and I was joking with him, saying, "You wouldn't touch the steering wheel," just being a stupid idiot. And he's like, "Well, you want to see?" And he grabbed the steering wheel, and I hit the ditch, and I did a complete 360 twice, and then stuck in the ditch in about 4 feet of snow. And these people show up, and they dig me out. Okay, you're good to go. I hop in, still drunker than just drunk. I couldn't even walk hardly. So I start driving down the highway, going back home, and I hear the cops go, vroom, vroom, 3 cops going down the other side of the highway for me. And they all stopped in the same spot, and they all turned around and followed me. And I seen the cops' lights in my rearview mirror. Okay, stop. What have they got? I'm not worried. I mean, I stayed the night. I shouldn't be any over the limit or anything. So they pull us over. The one guy that was in the passenger seat, he starts trying to fight the cops and whatnot, and he gets thrown in the back seat. The other cop car, and me, they're like, "Well, Bull Box doesn't work." Okay, well, we'll drive you into town. We're leaving your car here, and we're driving you back into town. Okay, I go back into town, and they're writing things down, and I had to do a fingerprints and a face scan, whatnot, and they give me a blow box. A blow thing, I breathe into it, 1.0. So just over the legal limit by 0.2. So I got the full on charge, the full DUI, the 1 year without a license, can't drive for 6 months, all that stuff. And that's when really my life turned around. And I realized my dad, my mom, family was like so disappointed in me, and telling about what's wrong with you. You got to get your crap together. You don't even have a job. Now you lost your car. Now you got a charge on you. I'm like, yeah, I know. So I sat pretty depressed for about 2 months after that, and that's when my mental health really started to pick up. All right, I've been diagnosed with anxiety, depression, and social anxiety disorder, like generalized anxiety disorder, social anxiety disorder, and depression. And it all kind of started with that, like drugs, from the drugs to the point of life where you feel like you've lost everything. Yeah, you deserve to be punished. I mean, everybody should. If you're drinking and driving, you should be punished. But I was a stupid kid. But anyways, after all that got said and done, and I got my license back, started a job at Walmart pushing carts. Yeah. Making sure the carts are all in order inside the Walmart. And it paid me like $12 an hour. I was getting $500 every 2 weeks, just basically paying for my court fees and my blue box in my vehicle. And I got that done, and then I applied at this job, and I was like, please, just hire me. Like, I'm ready to start new again. So this meat processing plant contacted me, and they said, well, we'll start you at $14.71, come in for an interview, blah, blah, blah. And I started working there. That's when COVID happened, so it was like 2019. So all of a sudden, this big thing, I start working for 2 months, and all of a sudden, well, you gotta wear masks, and you gotta get temperature check, and all this and that. Okay, well, this is what it is, I guess. So it was all smooth and easy. I did my job, did a very good job, and I worked there for 5 years up until 26 years old. No, 27 years old, and yeah, as I was working there, working with the same people, doing the same repetitive movements and stuff like that, I'm completely clean. I'm just gonna go with this right away. Straight. I'm completely clean. I drink only on brew twos. I'm camping. Sometimes maybe at home once in a while. I do not smoke weed anymore. I do not do any drugs. Luckily, I was able to get clean off hard drugs without rehab or any kind of therapy or anything like that. I was able to quit everything cold turkey. Thank God. Especially because Crystal, that was a tough one. Thank God that didn't take me down the road that you'll never come back from. But we got that all figured out and everything, and I quit the drinking. I started working out, bodybuilding, saving money, lived home with my parents, saved every cent, and just, had a few drinks with buddies or go gamble a little bit here once in a while with buddies that wanted to go hang out. And okay, well, that's all hunky dory and everything. And then Harvest Meats, it started getting very toxic there. There's a lot of immigrants kind of moved in and they're taking over and made things kind of harder on the people that were there for longer, and people leave and come and go from that place all the time. I eventually volunteered for a layoff so that I could, to now, I volunteered for a layoff just to get myself all situated. And mental health, 100%. I've been through therapy. I've seen psychiatrists. I'm good. I'm 100% good now. I'm ready to go back in the spring, but I'm going to try to take advantage of this time off to make YouTube content, because this is what I really truly want to do. But YouTube isn't exactly easy. I mean, you need views. I mean, I got a lot of supporters. I appreciate every single one of you. But YouTube is kind of a big thing. I mean, if you're not getting thousands and thousands of views, you're kind of lost in the abyss. But what I'm gonna bring to you guys is some very interesting pranks. I'm gonna go up a level before I have to go back to work, because I mean it's inevitable. I have to go back to work, and then I can't make YouTube content as much as I would like to. Like right now, I'm constantly out and about, going to these different campgrounds. We're constantly searching for places I can camp and stuff like that. And I got a lot of places in mind. We haven't really got into the big things yet. That's coming soon. Probably after the third camp is when things will get really, really, really interesting. Like the most haunted road in Saskatchewan, abandoned houses, abandoned church, abandoned school. Yeah, there's a lot of good things I'm gonna bring to you guys yet, but anyways, thank you for watching this final vlog. Now you kind of know about me from childhood to where I've been through and kind of the crap I've been through. I'm sure there's some of you out there that can relate, but it's not something you want to go through. I wouldn't push it on anybody. Like I would never wish what I went through on my worst enemy. I was the mental health, the depression, the anxiety, the social anxiety got so severe that I couldn't even go in public. I couldn't even buy my own groceries. I couldn't leave my house. I was just bedridden. And I'm doing so much better now. I feel like I was when I was before even high school started. And I mean, if you're really in that deep, dark depression, talk to me. I'm there to support you. You need someone to talk to, just message me, email me, and I'll be there all for you to help you out any way I can from my experience. But anyways, that's gonna be it for the final talks. After this, I might do a question and answer. We'll see kind of how things are doing. That'll be in a little bit, probably like a month from now. Just if you want to get to know me better than whatever we already talked about already. And I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys. There ain't no beating around the bush or anything. I'm straight up 100% talking to you guys like pure from the top of my head, pure honesty. I don't mess around, especially when it comes to this type of stuff. But yeah, no, I love doing these camping things. I love going out and doing the things I love to do. I love to do YouTube full time, and I'll always remain clean. I'll drink when I'm out on these camping trips or whatnot, because it's just something to do when you're just laying around bored. But no, things are gonna look up. There's gonna be pranks coming soon, and yeah, no, just thank you guys all for the support. Thank you for watching, especially if you got to this point. I respect all of you and wish nothing but the best for you guys. And yeah, don't go through what I went through. It's not fun, but things are gonna get a lot better here soon. So we'll see you on the next one, guys. Prodigy out.